Here's how to cut the roof covering out of a 10-foot by 100-foot roll of 4mm plastic sheeting, the kind that you would buy at Home Depot. The roll unfolds to 10 feet wide, so what we're going to do is we're going to measure out 6 feet, unroll the roll, and cut right there. That will give us a 6-foot by 10-foot piece of plastic. You're going to need 6 of these for the roof, because there's 6 roof triangles. Okay, we've got our 6-foot piece now. Now we're going to unfold it to its 10-foot length. Now we're going to go ahead and cut our triangle out of this 6-foot by 10-foot piece. I'm going to use a long aluminum cutting guide. You can buy these at Home Depot for $19. That's going to help me to cut the diagonals. Now what we're going to do is we're going to cut this according to the cutting guide graphic, which you're going to see right now. You're going to have 2 waste pieces left over afterwards. Okay, go ahead and cut along your lines. Now you have 1 roof triangle. You need 5 more. 6 total roof triangles. Now we're going to install the 2 triangles on 2 separate sides of the roof so that I can show how you work on the seam between the 2 pieces of plastic to make it pretty waterproof. What you're going to do is go up the ladder, and you want to center the plastic up here on the 24-inch section. And that's how it's attached. There's an overhang on purpose left at the bottom of the plastic. This is going to overlap the side walls. So when rain comes down here, it just kind of dribbles over and doesn't get behind the sidewalls. And if you notice, the plastic overlaps each of the corner rafters, comes right to the edge. It's okay if it's not totally perfect, you might have a little bit of a jagged edge, as long as it overlaps most of the way. Each sheet is going to go on over the other one and overlap here, creating an 1.5-inch overlap on all sides. Just run a few staples down the rib, and only use about 6 staples, because what we're going to be doing is we're going to run beads of silicone down here, the entire length of the corner rafter. We're going to overlap the next plastic sheet onto here, run a few more staples, then we're going to clamp this with a wooden piece of trim. You could also use like thin metal trim or something like that. It's going to basically clamp the plastic at every rib. Now what you're going to do is take some silicone. Regular cheap GE silicone 1 is just fine, especially the stuff that says kitchen, bath, or plumbing on it. And if you notice, it says permanently waterproof. So This is the cheapest silicone you can get at Home Depot, and it's actually one of the best. So I'm not going to do the whole thing here, but what you want to do is run a bead of silicone all the way up the rib, right here. Then we're going to overlap the next sheet over. So go ahead, pull your other sheet over, pull it nice and tight. Smooth the silicone down underneath. Then work your way up the rib, putting a few staples in. You don't have to go totally crazy here, but you want to work back and forth between the ladder and the ground, and just go ahead and staple this so it makes a really nice seam. Then afterwards, you're going to have these little overlaps here. You can just trim these off level with the rest of the overhang. And this is what it looks like from the top. You know, you'll have some parts you need to straighten out a little bit. You know, you'll have to fiddle with the staples a little bit there. But after you're done, it should look pretty nice and tight, just like this. So you've got a nice double overlap here with a nice big bead of smoothed out silicone in between each sheet. Next, I'm going to show you how to put the rib on here to clamp this down. Just to show a little bit about the fasteners, I use an Arrow staple gun. This is a pretty old one, and what I use is the Arrow JT21 staples. I use the 6mm size for stapling down plastic. There's 1,000 of them to a box, and you can buy a box for about $2–3. So it's really cheap, and you don't have to put a lot of effort into the stapling, because all you're going to do is hold the plastic just lightly while you do stuff. Then this is the strip we're going to be running down each of the ribs on this greenhouse. We're going to do it on the sidewalls and on the roof. And one of the screws that I like to use are these Spax hardwood and MDF screws. They're number 6 by 1.5 inches, and they're designed specifically to go into lightweight woods and stuff. They have a chisel point so they don't split. It says right here, no splitting. And they look like this. There's a kind of a chisel point on the end, and they have teeth that bite into the wood. They also have little ridges underneath the heads where they can actually countersink themselves into the wood. They'll actually chew their way down in there without splitting. And they use Torx heads. They come with the bit in the box. So these are perfect for doing little lightweight woods like this. Now, to hold down the plastic on every one of these ribs, what I'm going to use is, this is some thin molding, just to give an example. It's about, I believe it's about 1 inch wide and 1/4 inch thick, basically. What you're going to do is you're going to use one of these wood strips per rafter. You're going to go ahead and mount them on. You know, obviously you have to cut them to the right length, but you're going to screw them in, you know, maybe with, 4 to 6 screws along their entire length. And what this is going to do is, this is going to clamp the plastic. So what you're going to do is you're going to sink your screws in here, and you're going to attach some type of reinforcing piece over all the joints on the plastic. You can go ahead and do that on every single rib. That way, the plastic can only rip between ribs. You can't get a whole sheet peeling off at once and stuff like that. These pieces here, you'll probably need to waterproof them, or you may be able to use a really thin strip of metal on here. I'm going to investigate a couple different things to do on the new design here. So just for now, though, I'm just going to show you, about putting the wooden ribs on here. Because this is a pretty nice idea, and this will clamp this plastic on. And if you used really heavy grade plastic, like agricultural grade, the plastic will probably stay on until it disintegrates. I wouldn't even worry about it ripping or anything like that. So go ahead and trim your little points off, and you'll notice I screwed in the wood on both ends. I didn't do the other parts yet, but you'll get the idea here. So you're just going to have this plastic with wooden ribs clamping it on. And even this cheap 4mm plastic that's non-agricultural plastic, I had it last about a year out here in New Mexico, even where we have pretty high UV. So even if you got some of the better agricultural plastics and poly coverings and all that, they're rated for 5 years supposedly. I don't know what you'll actually get out of them. Maybe in a non-sunny climate, you'll get the full 5 years, but This right here only costs about, I would say, roughly $60 to do, to put the entire covering on this using cheap plastic, walls and roof. So that's not too bad, and you could afford to replace it every year. When you take the plastic off, you can use it for all types of other things, so you don't just throw it away in the garbage. You know, there's got to be some clever uses you can put it to.